Welcome back to another Roblox Studio tutorial. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to set up a leader stat that'll give you points automatically. So after 3 seconds, it'll add to whatever stat that you're going to use. So in this case, every 3 seconds, then I get 5 for the money value. Alright, so let's go ahead and dive in and see how we can do this in Roblox Studio. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started. So we're going to be adding 2 scripts to the server script service. One of them is going to be called leader stats, and the other one is going to be called auto points. Let's go ahead and start by setting up the leader stats. Okay, so to create the leader stats, we're going to start by saying local function. The name of this function is going to be onPlayerJoin. Inside the parentheses, we're going to pass player, so this will be the player that joins the game. Inside here, we're going to say local leader stats, and this is going to be equal to instance.new. Inside the parentheses, we're going to create a folder. Next, we'll say leaderstats.name, and this is going to be equal to leaderstats inside of quotation marks. Next, we're going to say leaderstats.parent, and we're going to store this with the player. Okay, so we have our folder, so the next thing we're going to do is create our value. So we're going to say local money, and this can change depending on what stat you're going to be using. And this is going to be equal to instance.new. Here, we're going to be creating an int value. We'll say money.name, and this is going to be equal to money inside of quotation marks. Next, we'll set the value, so we'll say money.value, and this is going to be equal to 0. And finally, we're going to store this in the leaderstat folder by saying money.parent, and this is going to be equal to leaderstats. Finally, down here, we want to run this function whenever a player joins the game. So we'll say game.players.player added, and then we'll say :connect, and then we'll connect it to onPlayerJoin. Okay, so that's all we have to do to set up the leader stats. So let's go ahead and test it out and make sure it's working. Okay, so we have our leader stats with the money value, so everything's good. So let's go ahead and move on. So the other script we're going to write is also going to be in the server script service, and we're going to call this one auto points. Up top here, I'm going to define 2 different variables that you can customize. The first one is going to be local amount. And just like the name implies, this is going to be the amount of points you want to give the player. So I'm going to set that equal to 5. Then I'm going to say local give time. And this is going to be the number of seconds it takes before it gives you a new amount. So in my case, just for testing to make it quick, I'm going to choose 3. The next thing we're going to do is define a while loop. So we'll say while true. And then what we're going to do is we're going to wait for our give time. So we'll say wait, and then inside the parentheses, we're going to put give time. After that, we want to loop through all the players in the game and increase their stat. So we're going to start by saying for, and then we'll say underscore comma, and then we'll do an abbreviation for player. So we'll say PLR. After that, we're going to say in pairs. And then we're going to be looking through the players folder. So we're going to say game.players, and then we're going to say get children. So this will get all the players in the game. And then what we want to do for each player in the game is we want to locate their leader stats. So we'll say local stats, and this is going to be equal to PLR, which will stand for the current player. And then we'll say find first child. And then what we're looking for inside this player is something called leader stats. If we're able to find the leader stats, then what we're going to do is increase the money value. So we'll start with stats, which stands for our leader stats. And then we're going to say .money, which is the name of our value. And then we're going to say .value to actually change it. And that's going to be equal to the original value. And then what we're going to add to it will be the amount variable. Okay, so what this is going to do, it's going to wait for our give time, which is 3 seconds. So it's going to wait for 3 seconds. It's going to loop through all the players in the game. It's going to locate their leader stats, and then increase their money value. All right, so let's go ahead and run the game, and we can check this part out. Okay, and over here for the leader stats, we can see every 3 seconds, we're getting 5 more for the money value. All right, and I know in the comment section, everybody's going to ask, how do we save this value? And rather than spending 10 minutes and typing out the data store script again, what I'm going to do is have it linked in the description. Once you go to the link in the description, there's going to be a section called leader stats. And then inside parentheses, it's going to say data store version. So just go ahead and copy that and paste it for the leader stats script. And once you do that, it'll save your money value. If you're going to be doing something different than money, make sure you update this section here. You also need to update this section here and here. And then one final spot, you'll need to update this section right here. Before you go to test this and then tell me it's not working, make sure you go to File and then Publish your game. After you publish your game, you want to go to Game Settings and then go to Security and turn on this section right here. After you do that, like I mentioned before, you want to test on the Roblox website. To get there, you can press File and then Close File. And then once you're at the section with all your games, you're going to click on the three dots and then go to Open Place Page. That'll bring you to the Roblox website with your game, and then you can test it out here. Okay, so now we're playing the game, so I'm going to let it increase a little bit, and then I'll leave the game and rejoin. Okay, so we're going to be leaving somewhere around 195 or 200. Okay, and then we'll rejoin the game. And then when we join the game again, we start where we left off. Alright, so that's going to be it for this video. Like I mentioned before, if you want the data store version, that's going to be linked in the description. So just copy and paste that for your LeaderStat script. I hope you enjoyed this video, and stay tuned for the next one.